Hey guys, my name is Austin Bachelor, and today I'm going to talk about how to be motivated, especially as an artist. When I teach live workshops, people ask me that. Students will ask me, they ask me how I come up with ideas for what I draw, but then they also ask me, how do you get the motivation to do all these things? Like, it's a lot of work, it's really hard, and I just feel discouraged sometimes. And it's a real problem that people deal with, and everyone deals with it. I deal with it too a lot of times where I feel like unmotivated, and it feels like a mountain of work to have to do, especially when you see other people's work and you compare it to your own, and it seems like they're light years ahead of you, and it can feel like, man, I'm never going to reach that point. There's so much work I have to do to get there that it's almost impossible, and it can be really, really discouraging. But we can't let that be an excuse for why we're not trying and working hard. We have to keep trying. We have to keep pushing. So some things I've learned about motivation in my experience so far that I think is important to share with people is that, one, there's no such thing as this magical event that's going to happen that will suddenly push us and motivate us to do something. That whole idea is one big fallacy. It's impossible, because really what it is, if you're sitting there waiting, I want some event in my life to happen that's going to push me over the edge. Maybe I'm going to get fired by my job, and finally I'm just going to decide, I'm pursuing my career, or I'm just waiting for someone more successful than me to tell me I can make it, and then that's going to motivate me to do it. And sometimes we wait for these events and we just keep putting it off in our head, like once I just need something drastic to happen, and that will give me the motivation I need to start. And it's simply not true, because any event can be the event as soon as you decide to act on it. It's not the event that causes you to act, it's your acting that creates the event. So if, for example, it starts snowing and I think, wow, it's so beautiful outside that I want to paint a picture of that, and I know it's going to be hard, but it's so beautiful that I just want to paint it so bad. So I decide to paint that picture. The snow didn't make me paint the picture. This magical event that was the thing that motivated me didn't really exist. By me deciding to paint this picture, I retroactively turned that event into something meaningful. Because just as easily, I could have decided, you know what? Nah, I could paint the snow, it'd be beautiful, but it's so hard, so I'm not going to do it, right? So stop waiting for some event to magically change you and motivate you to do something. It just starts with you acting instantly, okay? The second thing that I found is really important to motivation is once you decide to do something, once you get an idea in your head, whether it's you're going to paint, 30 pictures for a month, or you're going to write your own children's book or comic book or graphic novel or whatever your challenge is, right? It's going to be difficult. Start as soon as possible. Literally, I'm talking like if you're watching this video right now and you have an idea that you're just like, man, I really need to do this, then you shouldn't even be watching it anymore. You should be going right now and starting it right now. If you can start after this video, do that. If you can start tonight, do that. If the earliest you can start is tomorrow, do that. But it's so important to start as soon as possible, because so many times we think in our head, oh, this is such an amazing idea, I want to do this, and we get fired up about it, and then we tell ourselves, I'm going to start tomorrow, right? Like, I'm just going to start with a clean slate, I'm going to go in headstrong tomorrow, but today, I'm just going to finish today, and then I'll start tomorrow. And then we don't do it. We forget about it, we lose the passion, tomorrow comes, and we don't feel as fired up about it. We have to start right now, as soon as possible, every time. Because if we don't, it's just going to fall away. Like every other time we've decided to do something, every other time we've gotten fired up, it has to be now, okay? The other thing is that once you decide to do something, you need to be committed to it, obviously. But sometimes there's like this feeling we get when we decide to do something, or we know we should be doing something, like say we want to get better at drawing, and we could be drawing, but instead we're playing a video game or watching Netflix or reading a book or whatever, which all of those things on their own aren't bad, but there's this feeling in the back of our mind where it's like this nagging, anxious feeling of, I should be working on this, or I should be doing this, but I'm not. And so it kind of like makes us uncomfortable, and so we watch more Netflix or play more video games to distract us and get that feeling out of our mind because we feel guilty, which just makes it worse. Then we don't do the thing even more, it comes back later, and we keep pushing it off further and further and further because it's this uncomfortable feeling. The best way to fight that is to just start doing it, because motivation and working on things that you care about, it's like exercise, right? If you haven't ever gone running in your entire life or been to the gym and you're out of shape and you go there for the first time, it's going to be really hard and it's going to be really painful and you're going to hate it. It's going to be miserable. If you try running, your lungs are going to hurt, your legs are going to hurt, and it's going to be exhausting, right? But the more you do it, the less exhausting it becomes because your muscles get built up, you get used to it, you build an endurance. And it's the same way with motivation. If you just start at least once, just take the first step, whatever it is. If you want to learn to play piano, look up how to learn the notes online. If you want to learn how to draw in perspective, start drawing basic cubes, right? Taking that first step is so pivotal in making progress. That first step is what starts to light that fire inside of you. And the more that you do it, the motivation grows, right? The more that we act on those things, the more motivated we become. Instead of that anxious, nagging feeling we feel when we're thinking about something that we need to get done that we're not doing, instead it becomes a fire, so that when we're with our friends or when are reading a book or playing a video game or something and it crosses our mind, instead of feeling anxious, we start to feel fired up. We feel this passion to work on it. We want to go draw instead of feeling like, ooh, I need to draw, but it's going to be so hard and I haven't done it yet, so I'm just going to ignore it. Right? So starting is one thing. The last thing I want to talk about is sticking to a project. A lot of us can start a project, but then halfway through, we give up, right? Or once we start it, we'll sometimes start thinking in our head about how daunting it is that the project we've taken on. Maybe you agreed to do a children's book and you've never done one before, and once you start going through it, you're starting to realize, man, this is way more difficult than anything I've ever done. I don't know if I can do this. Or you tell yourself you're going to post a drawing on Instagram every day, and you start realizing, wow, this is a huge commitment. I don't know if I can do this. And we start psyching ourselves out because we're thinking about the big picture, and it makes us really overwhelmed, right? So the secret to dealing with that and just sticking with it till the end is to not think about the big picture. Don't think about every single little thing you need to do, because you will get overwhelmed. That it is a lot to do and it's a lot of work. What you need to start with is think about it one day at a time. And it sounds super simple and it sounds cliche, but it really is the trick. You need to start by thinking, okay, I don't have to post a YouTube video every day, or I don't have to post an Instagram photo every day. I just need to draw something today. Okay? All I need to worry about is as long as I can draw one picture today, I'm good. Maybe I will tomorrow, maybe not. Doesn't matter. As long as I can just get one done today. And that's way less overwhelming, right? That's easy. I can draw one drawing in a day. I can post one picture to Instagram. I can do whatever it is if I only have to focus on what I have to do today, right? If it's part of a huge project such as your children's book, all I have to do is sketch out the first page today. All I have to do is create an outline just today, and that's it, right? That's not overwhelming at all. And do that, get it done. Don't think about everything else you have to do. Just think about that. The next day, do the same thing. Okay, today, all I have to do is one drawing. That's it. I don't need to worry about anything else. Maybe I will do one tomorrow, maybe I won't. Who cares? All I have to worry about is this one drawing today. And every single day, do that same thing so that you don't overwhelm yourself. And before you know it, you'll have gone a month, 2 months, 3 months doing the same thing over and over again, and you haven't lost any motivation for it. So that's one thing to really help. And then the last thing, I know I said that last thing was the last thing, but now I have one more last thing that I want to talk about. And that last thing is how to not let your fears snuffle out your ambition, because that's another big thing that happens to people. And where it makes itself the most apparent is when we're thinking about things that we want to accomplish, that we want to do, maybe writing a graphic novel, but we think, man, what if nobody likes it? What if it's too hard? What if it doesn't turn out the way I want it to? What if I waste a bunch of time and it just is unsuccessful? And we think about all these what ifs that could happen, right? What we should really be thinking is all the what ifs of what good things could happen, right? If we want to write a graphic novel, we should start thinking, oh yeah, that's scary, but what if it becomes super successful? What if I make a ton of money? What if because I'm working so hard on it, I get way better at drawing and I'm able to get a job off of my art? What if it becomes super popular and I build a huge fan base? Those are the kind of what ifs you should be asking yourself, because that's what's going to get you pumped and get you motivated. And throughout the process of it, constantly be thinking about that. Think about the good what ifs. What if everybody loves it, right? What if I am completely fulfilled and like I feel good about what I'm doing? Ask those kinds of what ifs, because the negative kind of what ifs about, what if these bad things happen, they might be true and they might be founded in reality and truth. What if nobody does like it, right? What if it is unsuccessful? What if I do waste a bunch of time? But you have to realize, what if? What if I do? Does it really matter? If I spend all this time and nobody likes it, oh well, move on, try something new. But the amount of risk on the line, which is usually really, in real life, it's actually pretty small compared to the amount of possible gain, is so far outbalanced that you should never be letting that fear control whether or not you're going to try something difficult or scary, but you really want it. So anyways, that's my rant on motivation, and I hope that this helps at least one person out there, because something that I'm motivated about is motivating other people, especially artists. So good luck with what you're doing out there. I'd love to see what, in the comments, put what you're going to start today. After viewing this video, comment one thing that you're just like, what? That's it. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and today is going to be the day I start. I'd love to hear that. I love hearing stuff like that. It motivates me and pumps me up. So if you like this video, be sure to subscribe. If you want to hear more stuff like this, be sure to subscribe. And let me know what you want to hear about. What do you want to see tutorials on? What do you want me to talk about? I was doing artist interviews, but it didn't really seem like there was a lot of interest in it, so I kind of stopped. But if you guys want to see them and there's specific artists in mind that you want me to try and get in contact with and get on my channel, I'll do that. But yeah, just let me know. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And stay tuned, because by the end of this month, I'm really pushing it, but I think I'm going to be able to get my creature design course launched by the end of this month, and I'll be posting huge discounts for all my YouTube subscribers, because you guys are awesome. So stay tuned for that, and have a great day.